Before we get into today's show, a big thank you to everyone who got us to 10,000 subscribers here on Titans Today. I very much appreciate it. The next challenge for us is actually to beat Texans Today in subs this month. Will not be easy. It's channels that have done pretty well, but I think we can do it. You want more free Titans videos? Hit that sub button right now. A lot of stuff coming out of the Senior Bowl for the Tennessee Titans. We begin where else but at the quarterback position. Brian Callahan spoke with Teron Davenport over at ESPN about what he looks for in a quarterback, with the Titans holding the number 1 overall pick. Now, he mentioned how much of an influence Greg Knapp, the former Broncos OC, had on him growing up as a coach. He said Knapp always said these 3 things: decision-making, timing, and accuracy. Those 3 things are always going to be the first things you look for. If you look for those things, you're going to see a lot of what good quarterbacking looks like. I'll say this: I think that is a more defining trait of Shedeur Sanders' game than Cam Ward's game. Ward is not inaccurate, not a bad decision maker, but he's not a timing-based quarterback in the same way that I think Shedeur is a better fit of. It is also decidedly not Will Levis's game. I think we all very much saw that this past year. And then what stood out the most is Callahan choosing to bring up his old quarterback, Joe Burrow, in Cincinnati, and one name as it relates to the draft as well. People had questions about Burrow's arm strength in general coming out. One thing that makes Joe so unique, and I think you probably put Shedeur in the same conversation, they anticipate when they throw it. They have the timing and accuracy on top of it. That makes up for the arm strength. Those things are how you make up for maybe not having the biggest arm. If you're throwing on time and putting a ball when and where it's supposed to go, you're not going to have too many problems. Look, to me, that seems noteworthy. That Callahan kind of going almost out of his way to mention Shedeur Sanders. He did not have to do that. He didn't have to. Now, I don't think we can rule out Cam Ward necessarily either. It's also February 1st. There's a long way to go until the draft. There's a lot of work to be done on both of these QBs. Pete Thamel, though, over at ESPN, saying this: in a draft that projects to be defined by the Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders debate for QB1, the building sentiment from scouts and execs this week was Ward is likely to be the number 1 pick. Look, the overall newness of this regime, obviously Chad Brinker is still in there, but you brought in a new GM. The newness that also was not probably doing a lot of in-depth work on quarterbacks for the Chiefs, let's be honest there. Not that he's completely unaware of who they are, but not like he's been working diligently to scout these guys and know everything about them going into the job, because this is new. They weren't doing a lot of that with KC because they got this guy named Patrick Mahomes. So the newness of this regime makes me wonder if that's built-in fact or built-in expectations and guesses and knowing Borgonzi and everyone else there. It's going to make for an interesting conversation, one that I don't think is going to be wrapped up for at least a little bit. This is not a Caleb Williams draft where you got to take Cam Ward or Shedeur number 1. There's pros and cons on both guys. So would you draft a quarterback at number 1 overall at all? Spend some more time on trade talks here for number 1 pick. But go vote the pinned comment. Y for yes, N for no. Look, the reality is there are very real concerns about the overall talent level in the 2025 quarterback class, led by Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Those guys probably would have been, fighting for a best to be quarterback 4 in the class. And you might have some people who would think they'd be quarterback 4 from last year's class. There's a real chance it would have been quarterback 7. Take that guy number 1 overall, and it was a good class last year. It's a pretty big gamble there. Now, maybe Tennessee's desperate. I do think the Giants and Raiders are desperate. I think those organizations, especially New York, have to find a quarterback. They are in a dangerous spot at the moment. Now, Jeff Howe of The Athletic, writing an in-depth piece on this, part of the overall quarterback conversation, mentions and says that the Titans, who have needed a QB, have a fascinating decision ahead of them with the top pick. They have a new regime after hiring general manager Mike Borgonzi, and it's believed by some that they prefer Ward to Sanders. However, the Titans met with Sanders for about an hour last week at the East-West Shrine Bowl, according to a league source. That's viewed as a longer time than usual to meet with a prospect in that type of setting. And maybe it means they're doing their due diligence at minimum. But a few executives also believe that Tennessee would be better off trading the pick. We'll go more in depth in the idea of trading that top overall selection, but let me know what you would do. Right now, best guess, or best feelings in February. Try to keep the pick. T for trade, K for keep. Go vote in the comments of today's show. Let's break down the real options. It's kind of three, essentially. Number one, if there is a quarterback who you believe is a franchise guy, if is the guy to be a top 10 quarterback for your team and get you to where you want to go, you take that guy at number one overall. You don't get cute and try to trade down or anything. You lock it in and you build the rest of the roster around him, because the quarterback part is the hardest and most challenging and most impactful one to figure out. Now, you might not believe in a QB this year. That's fine. I get that. If there is not a QB you believe in, you try to trade that pick to a team that thinks that QB is their answer. Now, there is an issue there. You're banking on a team thinking you are wrong. And they think that, well, this guy is our franchise QB. And you said, that's fine. We're going to move away from this. You don't have a franchise. It's not the same as when if you have a young guy and then you're moving away from that top pick. You think, nope, this guy's not good enough. You can come trade for him. That brings doubts into what the overall trade package would potentially look like. And if you can't get a good trade partner, or you trade too far down, maybe you don't want to go to 6, for example, and miss out on Hunter or Abdul Carter. Maybe 3 of the Giants is the ideal solution, since you can get one of those guys no matter what. But if you can't find a trade partner, then just stay and draft the top player on your board. Well, that's Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. Could be somebody else, but I have my doubts there. Those are kind of your main options. And the Titans will explore all 3 throughout this pre-draft process. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Simply run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Although the season is almost over, the big game is a week away. You are running out of time, or I guess 8 days away. You are running out of time to get in on the real money sports action. This is one of the flex plays we've got over on PrizePicks. The first one's a no-brainer. It's the Patrick Mahomes free square. It's a half passing yard. Put it on every single one of your PrizePicks. Football, basketball, you name it, put it on there. Saquon Barkley, more than rushing yards, and Xavier Worthy, more than rushing yards. I'd like him getting involved on a reverse. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Let's go to free agency here. And this one, I think a lot of us are going to be on board with. Bleacher Report predicted the Titans as the landing spot for very talented Chiefs offensive guard Trey Smith. Reason being, they've got cap space. They can spend. They have a huge need along the offense line. They want to protect whoever the next young QB is. They hired Chiefs assistant GM Mike Borgonzi. And Smith played at Tennessee, so it would be a homecoming of sorts for Trey Smith. I'll give my thoughts on this here in just a second, but in general, would you sign him? Give him a lot of money, as we'll discuss in the process. S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I am all for this idea. I also think that I could say that for about 50%, 70% of the NFL. Maybe some teams don't have the money involved at all. Everyone would like to get Trey Smith. This might be the top guy that, if he does hit the open market, to hit the open market. Didn't allow a sack this past year as a guard. 30 pressures on well over 1,000 snaps is actually not that bad. He is a good run blocker. This is, wherever you want to rank him, a no doubt top 10 offensive guard, probably a top 5 offensive guard. Now, as we get into, he's going to be expensive. Here's the good news. You aren't paying anybody really on your offensive line. Lloyd Cushenberry makes some money as a mid to high paid center, but no one else is getting big bucks. Jase Latham and Skronsky are on their first contracts. Radens is going to be a free agent. NPF might not be brought back. He's like the second highest paid guy on the O-line this upcoming year, which is kind of crazy to think about there. You can take Trey Smith, plug him in at right guard, and feel so much better about your offensive line. Now, with that said, you probably got to make him the highest paid guard in football. Landon Dickerson makes big money. Lindstrom, Nelson, Hunt, etc. Zach Martin probably going to drop off the list if and when he retires this year. It's going to be expensive to pay Trey Smith. It will be $20 million plus per year. It could easily be, 4 years, $22 million per year. For Tennessee, it actually might be worth it, though, to help out that offensive line because they need it.